بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. This is the first class in our course, the Arabic sounds from ArabicForNonArabs.com. This is Muhammad Break speaking, and this first class will be about the letter Alif. It's the first letter of the alphabet, and this specific course is for those who do know how to read the letters. They do have some experience regarding Arabic letters, and they can read some words. Those who can't read words or do not know the alphabet and the names of the letters, or do not know how are the letters generally pronounced, must go back to our first course. This course is a bit advanced, and if you do not have those bases of the first course, you will shortly withdraw from this course and feel that you can't continue anymore. In this class, and this document is there in the website, in the course page, as I'll show you right now. Assalamu alaikum. This is the course website. You go to courses here, and then you go to the Arabic sounds, and here you can find the recent announcements. I'll put some announcements over here, and here you can find the different links, the thoughts and notes, which is the document I'm showing you right now, the week video on YouTube, the week video on Google Drive, because sometimes some people do not have access to YouTube because of the country restrictions, and an assignment, and the last modifications. I might do some modifications on this page, as adding, for example, another column here or something like that. But if you can just access to this page, you can open anything. You just press on the link, and you can download the document or review it over here, but you can download it as well. Okay, that's it. So we go back to the course. You can go and get it. In this course, or in this class, we will know the letter Alif, the difference between its name and its pronunciation, the conditions that have to be met in order for this symbol, which is the vertical line, to represent the sound of an A in cat, which is an alif, cat, qal, kal. What are the differences between the symbol of a vertical line and a vertical line with accompanied with other symbols that might change the pronunciation of that symbol? How does that symbol look like? And we're going to exercise on each point. How does the sound of an alif happen? And then we're gonna conclude. The word alif, I'm pointing to it right here, is the name of this letter, and it's not how it's pronounced in words. This is the name of the letter. So when I tell you what is the name of the symbol of the Arabic alphabet, you tell me this is an alif. Similarly to the A in cat, when I tell you what's the name of this letter, you tell me this is an A. But when you pronounce it, you don't say C-A-T. You say cat. Similarly, if I have a word that have the letter Alif, I don't say kaf, alif, lam, for example, except if this is needed from me in some specific places of the Quran. But if it's not, then you have to pronounce the letter cat. And for example, let's say we have the word of qal, kal, jal. It's all similar to the letter A in cat. For this symbol, I mean the vertical line, this symbol, the vertical line, to represent the letter Alif, it has to meet two important conditions. And here I said and, because the two conditions have to be met. What's the first condition? The alif in its word should be after a consonant. If there is no consonant before the letter alif or before that symbol, that means this is not an extended long vowel alif, or it means this is not a long vowel that represents an alif. It doesn't represent the sound of an A in cat. The second condition that has to be met, it is unaccompanied with any other symbols such as this or this. You can see it here, how it's accompanied with these symbols. Here, al-hamza. This is another letter called hamza. It's above alif. It's above this vertical line. So this is not a long vowel that is called alif. This is a hamza. And it's usually at the beginning of words. Or it can come at the middle or at the end. But this is not a symbol of an alif. So we don't read it as A in cat. We read it as A in apple. For example, A. أقبل. This symbol here, we'll explain about it more, because this symbol has not been in the ancient Arabic text, but it was represented in the new text to represent two letters, which is an hamza that is followed by an alif. So how do we read this? We read it as a. Okay? So the two conditions, very important. This is one of the most important thing that you have to know in order to know that this letter in the text means, when you're reading, this letter in the text represents the same sound of an A in cat. It has to be after a consonant. It should not be accompanied with any other symbols such as this or this. Now let's take some examples here. First of all, and before taking these examples, you must understand that reading in Arabic is not from left to right. No. Sorry. It's not from left to right. No, it's from right to left. Let's begin here with this letter. What is this? Is this an alif? No, it's not. Why? Because the reason of that is before that letter or that symbol, there is no consonants. Here. Is this the letter alif? No. Why? Because it's accompanied with another symbol here. Is this the letter alif, which represents an A in cat? No, because it's accompanied with another symbol here. Is this the letter alif? You can say no and you can say yes. Why? Because it is accompanied with another letter here, but this does not only represent an alif, it represents a hamza with an alif. So it represents two letters, as we will see in the coming slide. Is this an alif? Yes, it is. Why? Here we have a consonant. It's in the middle of the word, and it does not have any type of other symbols accompanied with it, above it or below it. What does this symbol represent right here? The one we saw. And we said that is not only an alif, that is an hamza with an alif. And as we studied in the first course, because as we assume that anyone who is attending this course attended or does have some experience about the Arabic letters and the Arabic words. What does this represent? In the ancient text, which is the Quranic text, this symbol does not exist. When the Sahaba, at the time of the Prophet or after the Prophet, they wrote the Quran, which is the holy book of Islam, they did not use this symbol right here. It was introduced later and added to the text of the Quran to represent an extended alif. How? For example, There are some words where you do extend the sound of an alif for some reasons that we will study in coming courses, not in this course. For example, you don't say only as-sama like cat, no, you say as-sama. So whenever we need to extend the pronunciation of this letter in the Quranic text, they introduced this symbol here to represent the extension of the alif. Now, when we see this letter, when we see this symbol here in the modern text, because some of you is attending this course to be able to read business letters and to be able to read ordinary books. So when we see this in the modern text, which is the modern text is the text that is used, or the way of writing that is used to dictate the modern books. Any book that is being published nowadays uses this way of writing or dictation. In the modern text, this symbol here represents two letters, which is as the sound of an A in apple and as the sound of an A in cat. So it's a. Excellent. Okay. Let's go to the next. Now, how does an alif looks in text? How do you know that this letter is an alif? It has two symbols. The first symbol is a vertical line, and as we said, alif, the letter alif should be after a consonant. So it will always be after a letter, either in the middle of the word or at the end of the word. Here, let's start with this. This is when it's connected, because some letters in Arabic, they connect to other letters and some letters do not connect. Alif connects from one side. It only connects from the right side. It doesn't connect from the left side. Here we see this is a consonant and this is the alif here. So what do we say? Sa, and this is similar. It doesn't have anything to do with pronunciation. When you see this here, without two dots below it or without any other symbol, it has the same pronunciation of this. But this has to do with some other topics of morphology that we will study in other courses. We say as well, sa. So whenever you see this symbol here, you will know that this is a sound of an A and a cat, as in cat. Here, I brought you another example of an alif, which is with the letter that does not connect with the letter after it. So the letter ra or ra does not connect to the letter after it. So this is how it will look like. Ra, and here as well, ra, because we said it has the same sound. Now let's exercise. As we see here, we want to know, are these red letters representing the word or the sound of an alif, which is the sound of an A in cat? Here, look here. Does this represent the sound of an A in cat? I'll say no. Why? Because it's at the beginning of the word, and we said alif does not come at the beginning of the word, it has to be after a consonant. Secondly, it has another symbol over it which represents a hamza, and this is the sound of an A in apple. Ukhra, here, let's look at this here. Yes, this is a symbol of an alif, but does this represent an alif, the sound of A in cat? Yes, it represents the sound of A in cat. Why? Because it's after a consonant and it is not accompanied with any other symbol that makes it a hamza or makes it a ya. Okay? Don't worry if you don't understand what is an hamza and what is an ya. What is a ya? Don't worry about it. But all I want you to know right now is this is the sound of an alif and this is how it looks like in text. Let's come here. Is this an alif? Yes, it is. Why? It is after a consonant. It's at the middle of the word and it does not have any other symbol over it. Here, is this an alif? No. Why? Because yes, it is at the end of the word. Yes, it is after a consonant, but it has a symbol of an hamza here. So how do we read this? We say قرئ قرئ قرئ. Okay. Let's see here. فأل فأل. Is this an alif? No, it's not. So we don't say فال, we say فأل. Why? Because it's after consonant but it has the symbol of a hamza right here. Here, I'm sorry, I made the whole word red and I left this in white, but let's say the white letter here, it does not represent an alif because it's not after a consonant and it has the symbol of a hamza here. Okay. Now, how does an alif sound in reading? Or how does the sound of an alif happen? The air is in the lungs, and once you start pronouncing the letter, the lungs push the air, and the air goes from the lungs and it comes to the vocal cords. The vocal cords starts vibrating, and as you see now, as I'll show you right now.
There you go. Do that low pitch. Now do that loud. Okay, now breathe. Do that.
You can spot how the vocal cords move once you start making sounds. These vocal cords vibrate, making the sound of and then the air goes up and the tongue will be at its resting position. Now, the tongue is at the position, the position of the tongue depends on the letter or the consonant before the alif. But let's say now that it's on the resting position, and we will give an example. Putting the alif after each consonant right now, and we'll start pronouncing it. After a ba, after a ta, after a tha, and we'll start pronouncing the alif after each consonant, and we'll see how each consonant affects the pronunciation of an alif. It goes out and your lips open. They open. The both lips open. So the sound, it makes the sound of, let's start with the letter ba, which represents B. Which represents the letter B in English, for example. It's just very similar. Let's say I'll start reading the letter alif after each consonant of the alphabet starting from B. Ba, ta, tha, ja, ha, kha, dal, da, the, ra. See? The sound here changed because the consonant before it, the characteristics of the consonant before it changed. So it became, other than ha, it became a, ra. So let's go back and see. Ba, ta, tha, ja, ha, kha, da, ذا را ذا سا شا صا ضا طا ظا ع غا. See, it changes after the characteristics of the alif. It changes according to the characteristics of the letter before it. Let's continue. فا قا كا لا ما نا ها وا يا آ. Okay, now we have pronounced the letter Alif after each consonant to show you the example of that. Why didn't we only pronounce the sound of an Alif? Why? Why didn't we say, for example, why? Because Arabs do not pronounce Alif alone. Whenever you want to pronounce Alif, you must bring a consonant before the Alif, which is the seen here. This consonant is just similar to the S in English. In pronunciation, it's similar to the S in English. And this consonant should have a small slanted line before it, or above it. Of course, that small slanted line is not always written in the modern text. It's not always written. But you will know it from the conditions that we have stated previously, because we did not state that condition of having a small slanted line before it, because I tried to get the conditions that you can spot the Alif in any text. So you will see that this is the S in English, which is a consonant, and here we have the consonant, the small vowel or the short vowel, the short form of an Alif. It's called Fatha. It's a small slanted line above the consonant and the Alif. Sal, 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 sa, sa. We've come to a conclusion. Alif is the first vowel in the Arabic alphabet. It represents the vowel A as in cat. In modern text, Alif is always at the middle or end of a word, and that applies also to the ancient text, but I'm only mentioning here what applies to the modern text, while it is unaccompanied with the following symbols. Okay? Is that good for now? I'm gonna give you some practices, as you will see in the website or in the page of the course in this video.